This video is reviewing factoring. So this first problem is asking us to factor the following trinomial, 6x squared plus 10x minus 4. Now the first thing we always check for when we are factoring is if there is a first GCF, so that greatest common factor. So looking at these three numbers, 6, 10, and negative 4, remember you can always plug these in Desmos by typing in GCF 6, 10, negative 4. So the GCF of these three numbers would be 2. So we're going to divide all three terms here by 2. So I bring down that 2 because we want that in our final answer, and then we can divide. So 6x squared divided by 2 is 3x squared. 10x divided by 2 is plus 5x. And negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. All right, so now we want to find our A value and C value and multiply them together. So our A value here is a 3, C value is negative 2. So when we multiply 3 times negative 2, we're going to get negative 6. So we want to find factors of negative 6 that will add to give us 5. So factors of negative 6 are 1 and negative 6, 2 and negative 3. When we add these together, 1 plus negative 6 is a negative 5. 2 plus negative 3 is negative 1. Since we're looking for this positive 5, that's our B value, we're looking at factors that will add to the B value. 1 and negative 6 give us that negative 5, but we want a positive 5. So what we're going to do is we are going to flip the signs of 1 and negative 6. So now we have negative 1 and positive 6, because when we add those together, we do get a positive 5. So negative 1 and negative 6 are the factors we're looking for. The reason we do all of that is so that we can split that B term, the middle term, into two terms, and that way we can group by factoring. So I'm going to bring down the 2, that first GCF, and then we will rewrite this as 3x squared. And then I'm going to split this middle term into negative 1x and positive 6x. And then we rewrite the minus 2 at the end. And now we can group together because we have 4 terms. So the first 2 terms and the second 2 terms will be grouped together. And now we're going to look for the GCF of that first group. So the GCF of this first group between 3x squared and negative 1x is just going to be 1x. So we divide each term by 1x, and that factor, that GCF 1x, will follow us down, and we put that in front of the parentheses. 3x squared divided by 1x is 3x, and negative 1x divided by 1x is just negative 1. Those x's cancel out. So now we're going to look for the GCF of the second group. So that second group is 6x minus 2. And the GCF here is going to be 2. So we divide each of these terms by 2, and it's positive. So I bring down a plus 2 in front of the parentheses. And 6x divided by 2 is 3x. Negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. So notice we do have our twins here, 3x minus 1. So I'm going to factor out the twin, 3x minus 1, bring that down. And since we no longer have the twins, we take what's left, the 1x plus 2, and we glue those together. And remember, we cannot forget that 2 we factored out from the beginning. So we bring that down, and then this would be our factored form of the trinomial 6x squared plus 10x minus 4. Now on this next problem, we're going to factor and solve x squared plus 5x minus 14 equals 0. So first we look for a GCF. And since we can't take anything out of this equation here besides 1, we're going to skip that step and then go on to finding our a value and c value. So the a value is going to be a 1, and then the c value is a negative 14. So we're going to multiply together a times c, which is 1 times negative 14, which is negative 14. And we want two factors of negative 14 that will add to give us our b value, which is positive 5. So factors of negative 14 are 1 and negative 14, and 2 and negative 7. Now when we add these together, 1 plus negative 14 is negative 13, 2 plus negative 7 is negative 5. So again, when we get the correct number but not the correct sign, we just flip them. And so we get negative 2 and positive 7. And when we add those together, we will get positive 5. So now we can rewrite this equation as 1x squared. And then instead of plus 5, we're going to have minus 2x plus 7x. So we split that middle term, minus 14. And now we can group together. So the first two terms is our first group, and the second two terms is the next group. To find the GCF of this first group, we look at 1x squared and negative 2x. The GCF here would be a 1x. So we divide by 1x and bring down the GCF in front of the parentheses. 1x squared divided by 1x is just 1x, and negative 2x divided by 1x is negative 2. On this next group, we can factor out a positive 7. So we divide by a positive 7 and bring that down. And we know that what was in that first set of parentheses should also go in the second set of parentheses because it's our twin. And now we factor out our twin, 1x minus 2. And since we take that out, we're left with 1x plus 7. Okay, and now that we've factored it, we want to solve it. Remember, we solve by taking each factor and making it equal to 0. So 1x minus 2 equals 0, and 1x plus 7 equals 0. And then you just solve for x. So here we would add 2 to both sides, and 1x would equal 2. On this next one, you would want to subtract 7 from both sides, and we get 1x equals negative 7. So 2 and negative 7 would be the solutions to this quadratic equation.